I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill.
Hey everybody, this is Michelle and Josiah. We are the political beat for the Chritonical, and today we're going to be talking about UAFS SGA Resolution 1313, which is alcohol policy of on-campus residents in the Sebastian Commons. Josiah.
Okay, so basically what we've seen with this bill in the past, this bill would allow people over the age of 21 who live in the Sebastian Commons to buy alcohol and bring it into their dorms. They can have it. They're not going to get punished. What the SGA has said is that a lot of this has been a problem in the past, that a lot of people who get busted for having alcohol in the dorms who are over 21 just get pretty much a slap on the wrist, and some have even said they get like a pamphlet and not really any big punishment out of it. So last April, they passed this resolution which would allow them to have alcohol in the dorms if they're over 21, but it's only in the Sebastian Commons, not in the Lion's Den. So right now we're going to be discussing a little bit about what's next for the bill. Before we go on, I want to talk about one of the big things that campus police have said, which would be that underage kids will be drinking. I want to run a soundbite that Craig Nance, the chief of police, had said back in April when the bill was first passed. He said basically that they would be allowed to drink in the dorms and that they would be bringing in underage. So here's what he said.
What will happen is the 21-year-olds, they'll hook up with the younger crowd and say, hey, okay, you can drink in here. And it will attract more of the younger crowds to hang around with those who are 21 years and older. And the reason why I say that is through my experiences at other universities that I work. That's what basically happened.
Okay, we have some guests with us today. We have Dr. Angie Lee, Zach Molson, and Chris Elrod. Chris is our SGA representative. Zach is just a man on the street student, and Dr. Lee is our staff representative. So, Dr. Lee, what do you think about this rule? Do you think this is something that would be good for the University of Arkansas Fort Smith?
Well, Michelle and Josiah, as a rhetorician, I've been trained to try to look at everything from different sides, and so I'm going to kind of look at what would happen if we didn't allow it, and what would happen if we did allow it, and maybe try to figure out where I might stand. If we don't allow it, it makes people want to rebel more. We know that underage drinking happens, but it doesn't look good on campuses, and perhaps the parents would be reluctant to send their kids here or let them live in the dorms. Maybe we should make students who are of age drink in bars, or use the money that's being fined to them to enforce who is legal and who is not. Now, if we did allow it, it might reduce the violations that are being handed out, and the police can actually deal with real emergencies. They could have separate living quarters for those of age, and if they wanted to pay more money. I would definitely need to do more research, but it looks from what I can come up with now, it seems like not allowing it is outweighing the permitting it.
Very interesting. I think those are some very good points. Zach, do you have anything that you would like to say?
Well, I think Dr. Lee really brought up a lot of good points, especially the point about if you don't allow it, they're going to rebel anyway. I mean, the argument that you're going to bring underage drinking into it, they're going to drink anyway, I believe, whether you allow it or not, so you might as well try and cut down some of the... If they're going to rebel over it, they're going to have angst over it, which could create more stupid acts out of alcohol. But
Okay, let's switch gears then. Let's talk to Chris a little bit. Chris, SGA PR rep. Chris, one of the things we want to talk about that, like the chief of police of UAPD had said, was, is this going to be a resolution that if passed, that these older kids are going to start sneaking in and these younger kids into their dorms to drink? Are we going to have more problems because of this?
First off, I think it's already kind of a little dirty secret that it already happens. I mean, they're dealing with those violations all the time. Also, I want to touch base on what SGA's power and authority in this actually is. Passing this resolution doesn't mean the policy will change. It just means the student body recognizes there needs to be, this issue addressed on another level. In our resolution, we asked that residents who have roommates underage not be allowed alcohol unless all residents are over 21. And it does address the issue of them bringing it in. And I think that's something that will have to be looked at with Chief Nance and with Dr. Crable, the Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs. They're already enforcing it now. I don't see it being a bigger issue. If anything, I think the students realizing that we are working with them and we're addressing their concerns, if anything, is going to kind of calm down the rebellion and the rebellious side of them, and I think it'll smooth things over a little bit.
All right, so let's talk about a little bit about like the U of A, for example. We already know right now that there's no colleges in the state of Arkansas that allow drinking in dorms. We've done some research into that. The U of A kind of has this little policy with the Hogs football games that they kind of just cast a blind eye. They don't ask what you're carrying in your cooler. They don't ask what's happening with it. So Michelle, actually, her daughter had an experience. Michelle, you want to go ahead and share a little bit about what had happened recently at the Hogs game for your daughter?
Sure, absolutely. It was the A&M game with the Hogs, and of course everybody was very excited about this game, and I'm sure there was drinking beforehand, maybe all day since it was a late Saturday game. And they were in the stands, they were enjoying the game, and one of the students behind them threw up all over the back of their heads and their clothes and everything else, so they actually had to leave the game. So that is that going to be indicative of what we're going to be seeing if we pass an alcohol resolution for the school, for these people to be, if you that person wasn't necessarily even underage. They could have been a 21-year-old person, I don't know, but are we going to see stuff like this then? Or is somebody going to be at a basketball game or a volleyball game over in the Stubblefield Center and throw up on the back of somebody's head? So I think there are a lot of things that we need to worry about as far as, how are we going to police this and what kind of behavior are we going to accept out of kids who are allowed to drink?
So, big elephant in the room. Someone gets caught underage drinking. What do we do to them? Chris, what would you say in this situation? Any ideas of what someone underage drinking, what should happen to them?
I mean, that's not SGA's really position to dictate policy and punishment and fines. I would leave that up to Craig Nance, Chief Nance, and let him kind of use his experience, his better judgment, and work with the administrators to come up with some sort of system, whether it's punishment, fine, no longer being allowed to room in the dorms, whatever it may be. But I don't really think that's our position to stipulate on what should and what shouldn't happen. This is just us voicing our concern for the students. It's a need that they wanted to be met, and so we're representing them in that way.
Okay. So we're running out of time a little bit, but Chris, can you basically tell us what's next for the bill as of right now?
Sure. The bill, it was voted on by SGA in the spring of 2013, and it did pass with a majority. At that time, Curtis Adams, then Vice President of SGA and right now current President of SGA, did meet with Dr. Crable to discuss the fact we had passed this bill. We had brought the student concern to the table. I believe this month, October 2013, they will be presenting a summary, kind of wrapping up in layman's terms what they hope this bill will accomplish, and be presenting that again to Chief Nance and Dr. Crable and see from there what is the next step. Obviously, changing policy on campus isn't SGA's privy, but we're speaking to the people who can make that change, if at all. So we'll go from there.
Is there some way, if someone were interested to see how this progresses, is there some way that they could to find out where the bill is, who's looking at it, that kind of thing? Is there some way they can go through SGA or something like that?
Students are always welcome to attend our legislative assembly meetings. It's every Tuesday at 4:30 in Library 206. Once we get our business out of the way in the meeting, there is a open forum section at the end for any guests or students to speak up and ask questions. They're more than welcome to, at that time, speak up and ask where the bill is, what progress is being made, and we'll answer it the best we can. We're also, obviously, we have email, Facebook, Twitter. Any questions, we'll be glad to answer.
Excellent. We would like to thank our guests today, Chris Elrod, Dr. Angie Lee, and Zach Molson. We appreciate your opinions and your comments, and Josiah and I will sign off now. Thank you.
I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill.